have disappeared unnoticed to join my ancestors. Chapter 1. Burmese Beginnings. My ancestors, if they happened to be looking as their descendant was descending into the narrow sea off the east coast of England, might have found the episode inappropriate. For they were men of the West, worthies of Devon, whose shores and granite cliffs resound with the thunder of the long Atlantic swell. Westward ho, and across the oceans to the ends of the earth. That is the Devon tradition. Yet it was not until the mid-19th century, when my grandfather married a girl from a seafaring family, that my own family began to venture forth across the seas. Until then my ancestors had lived out their lives as squires or parsons in sleepy places with strange, sweet-sounding names, like Whitestone and Farway, Tedburn St. Mary and St. Mary Down, Ottery St. Mary, Mohun's Ottery, Buckland to Saints, and Bovey Tracy. My father was the son of Stephen, a doctor, and Mary Wooldridge, who came from a seafaring Cornish family. Mary doubtless kindled the flames of romance and adventure in my grandfather's heart. Instead of spending his life trotting on an old cob round a Devonshire parish visiting the sick, Stephen took the boat with Mary to India. There, as Surgeon General, he trotted alongside General Bobbs Roberts, hero of Kabul and Kandahar. General Stephen, now sporting the showy insignia of his rank, was a tall, substantial man, and General Roberts, so I am told, had him ride beside him not especially for his company, but to draw the enemy's fire. My father was born in 1864, at a time when Britain was the richest country in the world. New public schools were springing up everywhere, and it was not surprising that my father should be sent to one which bore the stamp of the East India Company, Haileybury. He was a quiet, likeable person. Though not made for greatness, he lacked neither brains nor character, and played as hard as he worked. His name is enshrined as a member of the 1881 rugby team in a gallery in the chapel precincts. Sport and religion enjoyed, of course, equal status in an English public school, producing between them the muscular Christianity needed of the men who ruled the empire. The Royal Military College, Sandhurst, taught my father the elements of soldiering, but he was never destined for a military career. He shared, however, his father's taste for adventure east of Suez, and it was to India that he headed in the mid-80s. Hardly had he joined the Bengal Staff Corps than there occurred an event which changed his life. The Bombay Burma Corporation had been caught poaching teak from the royal reserves of Tibor, King of Burma. Tibor imposed a fine and, encouraged by the French, made it hefty enough to ruin the Bombay Burma. Queen Victoria dispatched General Harry Prendergast and 10,000 of her soldiers to take over Tibor's immense moated palace at Mandalay. Tibor wisely gave in without a serious fight. Victoria, Queen of foggy, faraway England, became overnight Queen of the Golden Land, a few degrees north of the equator. My father was one of the men sent to Burma to exercise the Queen's writ. He was not yet 23. Men like my father lived lonely lives in outlandish places. They were forbidden to marry until they reached their 30s. They administered vast territories practically from the back of a horse. Their power, within its limits, was absolute but rarely abused. They were picked men, devoted to improving the lot of the natives, often too zealously for the latter's liking. With very little in the way of naked force at their disposal, they relied on tact and persuasion. On one important occasion, my father, in his lonely outpost, feared that while the community celebrated, the bad hats, as the Burmese themselves called the local underworld, would have a field day. When the great day came, he arrested them all and told them, "Gentlemen, you are invited to be the guests of the King Emperor." Whereupon he locked them up, fed them well, and, the celebrations over, released them. All thanked him for His Majesty's hospitality. My father moved rapidly up the ladder. He loved the Burmese. More, he realized that some of them loved the British. It was nearly 20 years after he arrived there that he married. He was, by then, 42. My mother had come all the way from her home, Hertford Hall, in Cheshire. It is today a 3-star hotel where, in the oak-beamed 16th-century stateroom, one may dance to live music. I am sure that she would have been philosophical about this, for she lived with the times and never grew old. She was a great romantic, as ready for a walk in the woods as to sail or fly to the other side of the world in search of something new, unexpected, exciting.